It's that time of the week again. It's Talk Back. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Nesbit, and with me is Justin Gay, your host and director of content. We've got a full slate of topics here in week 3 of the NFL. AB losing his job with a third team already, and his coach, Bill Belichick, doesn't seem to like reporters' questions. Then we'll move on to other hot topics in the league, such as the Giants switching quarterbacks. 2 big-name quarterbacks going at it here in week 3 with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. And all of the talk-worthy subjects around the league in segment 2. Could there be a quarterback controversy in Carolina? Cam Newton's out for week 4. What does that mean for Kyle Allen and the future of that team? We'll have all of that and more on this episode of Talk Back. Are you ready for a show that talks sports from the fans' point of view?
We've seen Michael Jordan score 37 points a game in his era. How many could he score in today's NBA?
There's not a player out there who I'd rather have than LeBron James.
Are you ready for a show that isn't afraid to challenge anyone when it comes to sports? If Adam Silver really wanted to fix tanking in the NBA, he would stop rewarding teams by giving them the best chance to win the draft lottery.
I mean, how many times will Roger Goodell drop the ball on handling domestic violence in the NFL?
Look, athletes have every right to talk politics, but if the fans stop tuning in, that's their right.
Then you're ready for Talk Back, a podcast where 2 fans debate the media narrative and discuss the world of sports as we see it.
Welcome to the show. All right, we are back here on episode 306. It's week 3 of the NFL. A lot of stories to discuss here. We saw this week a lot of road teams getting some big wins, and we saw one team tell a player to hit the road. So, Eric, the Giants turned over a new page. Like I said, they had some big-time road victories, but I think we got to start with the news that broke on Friday and really started last week towards Thursday, where stories were coming out about a group text that Antonio Brown had sent out. And yes, we're talking about Antonio Brown sending texts. We were talking about him on Instagram, now text again. I'm not sure if Antonio Brown is 15 or 30, but he sent out a group text. It included an accuser of him and his lawyer at this point, which seemed to be an intimidating threat, talking about her financial state. This seemed to finally be the straw that broke the camel's back. Robert Kraft got involved, reportedly sent a note to Bill Belichick to say, can you guarantee me that there is no more? And Belichick reportedly said he could not, and they decided to cut ties with Antonio Brown. Eric, this is beyond weird. It's getting to disturbing now, but the Patriots have no one to blame but themselves. They knew the situation going in with AB, and they've had a history of dealing with players who have backgrounds that are checkered, to say the least, with everything that happened with Aaron Hernandez. So do the Patriots here get to cry about this situation, or was this just, hey, we're going to kind of do our research, we're going to act like we did our due diligence, but then we can wash our hands of this situation if it goes awry?
Do I think the Patriots get to cry about anything? No. Heck no.
That was a dumb question.
I mean, I think there's a couple of funny things here, right? One, Kraft sending a note to or talking to Bill Belichick about, different things that are going on and saying, can you guarantee me there's no more? I mean, how could anybody guarantee that there's no more? It seems like this guy has more skeletons in the closet than a Halloween store. I don't understand how you can guarantee anything with this guy, because every time we turn around, there's something additionally disgusting coming out, and you think it's one thing and another, and then it just gets worse. And I don't know if this guy is clinically bipolar, if he has a mental disturbance, but it would fly in the face of any legal counsel to have an ongoing investigation into a rape allegation and then include that female on a group text where you're sending out potentially damning or threatening vibes regarding her and her financial situation, the picture of her kids. How could you guarantee that there's no more? Because every time you turn around, this guy does something else. I think that's why the Patriots don't get to cry. They signed this guy within hours after him being unloaded by the Oakland Raiders, where he was just causing a number of problems. And there was no time for due diligence. And if they say there was, then that just further proves our point that they were probably working on this prior to him actually leaving Oakland. Again, this guy, I don't think this is going to be the last thing either, Justin. There's just going to be more and more and more. I mean, we saw that SI story come out where it looks like he owes a bunch of people money. He's got other things going on with allegations. It just seems like he's a bad guy. And I don't like to put that on someone. I think everybody has the opportunity to be redeemable, to be forgiven, to have grace and mercy shown toward them. But he has a rap sheet of poor behavior ever since he's been in the NFL. Now, he comes from Central Michigan, not a huge football school. He becomes a superstar in the league. He took his opportunity in the NFL to become a diva, a prima donna, and to just act like he is invincible. And to me, Justin, I think this guy has the potential to turn into another Aaron Hernandez. Now, I'm not saying he's going to go out and murder someone. I certainly hope he doesn't. But what I mean by that is he felt like being in the NFL afforded him the ability to just do whatever the heck he wanted in any way, shape, or form. And now one of the best receivers in the entire league, not just a year ago, doesn't even have a job and may not ever have a job again because of the way he's behaving. I think it's just an incredibly sad story.
And let me clarify when I said the Patriots crying about this situation. What I mean by that is dodging questions from reporters, don't want to pay up the money, going about it in a way to now try to get legal counsel and all these other things involved when they knew this guy was an issue. That's my problem with it. I actually hope, Eric, that they have to pay him all $9 million of his signing bonus. I hope they're on the hook for that because this is a lot like, now you and I have been out of the dating game for a long time, but this is like when you have a buddy and they come back from a bar. They're like showing you pictures of this girl and you're like, oh yeah, I know her. You know, and he's like, oh man, she's so attractive. And you're like, well, she's still married, but she's coming out of it. Oh, well, that's not a good sign that she's messing with you and she's still married. Well, this is her fourth marriage and it hasn't worked. Okay. What makes you think that you are going to fix this? What makes you think anything is going to change? It's the same thing with AB here. He has a history now where two teams have said, you know what? We don't care about dead cap money. We don't care about a third and a fifth that we gave you. We just want you off our roster because you are such a cancer to the football team and you are self-destructing in front of us. If Robert Klemko can go out and find another person that was sexually assaulted by AB and all these people that he owes money to, and the Patriots can't do that when you have former FBI agents on your security staff and you have all these measures in place on this team, and you can't do that, you can figure out a way to spy on people. And the rumors were Peyton Manning wouldn't go in the locker room because he thought it was bugged. You have the capability to potentially do that, but you can't go out and find all these people that are willing to talk about AB and his character. Then Eric, you don't get to complain about it. You should have to stand up, man up, and answer every question that's asked for you. Belichick's reaction to Dana Jacobson when she asked him about the AB situation and what was the final straw, and then he stares her down. You're doing the exact same thing that you just came out and said you got rid of him for. That he sent intimidating, quote unquote, text, and you weren't going to be part of that. And you stand there and you try to intimidate someone with your little stare down because you're an ass. And that's what I think the Patriots are. I hope karma hits this team right in the mouth, Eric, because I just can't stand the way that they conduct themselves. And it's like, well, we don't want to talk about it now. Like, no, you should have to talk about it. You guys went out and you did the same thing with Aaron Hernandez. And now how many people has that man left dead? And you empowered him. You enabled him. You gave him money. You gave him money to continue to involve himself in everything he was on the backside, all the shade that was out there. And you protected him, and you knew the rumors from Florida. You heard the stuff in practice with the rumors out there with the things he said about Wes Welker and to him. All that stuff is out there, Eric, and they still haven't learned anything from it because talent outweighs everything when it comes to the Patriots.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's what drives me insane, especially as a Jets fan. The Patriots will do anything, they'll say anything, and they will involve themselves in anything to win football games. And signing AB, as we talked about just a week or two ago, was nothing more than the same pattern that they have. They put winning above anything else. Look at the fact that AB didn't have to search far to throw Robert Kraft under the bus for his own personal behavior. Now, it seems like those tweets have been deleted since then, since AB was like throwing Robert Kraft under the bus, Ben Roethlisberger. He tried to throw Shannon Sharp under the bus. Look, the guy is just absolutely a cancerous being in this league, let alone in the locker room, but in the league as a whole. If another team signs him, as Drew Rosenhaus reports that 3 other teams already have contacted him, I hope that that team, whoever it is, gets everything they deserve as well. And I agree with you. It'd be nice if the Patriots were on the hook for the $9 million. I just don't really want to give Antonio Brown $9 million more to go do whatever he's going to do. The guy is just, I don't know what to say about him. I mean, and then you have now the news that he's re-enrolled at Central Michigan in online classes. Don't get me started.
Oh, no, not more Bible studies.
Oh, yes. Well, or I hope they're not Bible studies. Now, look at what that got him.
Not the way he does them.
Yeah. The fact that this guy can enroll in college and be accepted with the way that he writes, with the way that he seems to not be able to pass first grade grammar, that's a whole other issue, because that gets me really irritated at the American education system. Either he is having someone else write his entrance exams and write his stuff for him in order to pass these classes, or he has 2 totally separate abilities and personalities, because the stuff he's written in text and email and all the stuff that's been out in the media and public, the guy doesn't look like he has the mentality of a 5th grader. It's awful. There's no punctuation, no grammar. Half of it doesn't even make sense. And now you're telling me this guy is enrolled in 300 level college classes at Central Michigan? I got a real problem with that too. So Central Michigan, you're on the hook now, because you go and give this guy a degree when he can't get out and read or write or, yeah, okay, that shows a lot about your school.
Let me ask you this, Eric. We're in a time and place now where mental health gets brought up all the time. Is this all about publicity and almost the addiction to social media? Or do you actually think that there potentially is something wrong with him? A situation almost like we've seen more with the WWE with Chris Benoit, how he just went crazy. Or you had Chris Henry from the Bengals jumping out of the back of a moving vehicle. Do you think it's to that level, or is this more the addiction to social media?
I think it's both. You know, look, I'm not a psychologist, and we are just sitting here pontificating on what could be the problem, but I think it could be both. I think he certainly has proven through his Instagram and his Twitter account. I mean, all of his social media usage is all about me. So yeah, he's addicted to that. We've talked about the fact that somehow he was being recorded when the Raiders released him, so that was on film and on video that he could put it up on Instagram. Clearly he's being filmed or filming all the time so that he has the opportunity to market himself in that way. When he got signed with the Patriots, he had artwork already up on his Instagram like an hour later of him rolling in a pile of money with a Patriots uniform on. And he's clearly involved so heavily in the social media aspect that he's branded himself that way. And whether he's using it for good or bad is his own personal choice. But yeah, he's addicted to that. Now, from the other side of it, why is he addicted to that? Why is he doing some of the things he's doing? Why is he willing to walk away from $30 million over a helmet issue? Well, right. I think there's mental instability there, clearly, because you don't just make irrational choices time and time again that fly in the face of anything logical and then have people consider you to be normal. You've hit it on the head there, that there's 2 things going on there.
Yeah, I do. And look, his behavior now, it's almost a little bit like we talked about with the Andrew Luck story. When something shocks you so much, you immediately start looking for, is there a conspiracy here? Is there something behind the scenes? Is there something we're missing? And I think AB has hurdled that line and is still sprinting to where you're like, okay, have we crossed the point where a normal human being, even an NFL diva, wide receiver, they don't typically just walk away from money. That's the one thing that they all want is money. The Calvin Johnson story just came out where he actually was one of the people that walked away from it because he was a guy that talked about having the concussions, needing to smoke marijuana, just everything that goes into the game. And you start to think about AB, some of the big headshots that we've seen him take over the years, has it caught up now? And with his personality, are we at this point? That's the thing that, and I think you said it right. I think worst case scenario here, we're going to wake up one day and he's going to be found dead somewhere, because everybody, I liked what Dan Patrick said on Monday about Antonio Brown. The people around him are failing him because no one will stop him. Everyone is just on the side, waving the pom-poms, cheering him on, Drew Rosenhaus included. At some point, you have to pull this guy aside and say,